It don't stop.
Welcome to the TD Report. I'm your host, David Combs. I am the gambler here with Kenny Rogers and Cody Bennett on this auspicious occasion. A lot going on, guys. I know we've only got an hour. Cody's ready to go. We had a production meeting today, and Cody and Tony went after each other like it was terrible. It was. So let's talk about the big news of the day. This is what's trending right now in the NFL, literally for the last 2 hours, 3 hours. Calvin Ridley of the Atlanta Falcons, wide receiver out of Alabama, just 27 years old. He had taken a leave of absence for mental health issues, took a little time off, and the NFL just handed him down a 1-year suspension for gambling. Okay, he placed bets during a 5-day period during the time he was away from the team, so he was not an active player at the time. But he is suspended for the 2022 season. He will forfeit $11.6 million in salary. The Atlanta Falcons will get $11 million in cap relief. That's been determined. So this doesn't hurt their cap, at least not yet. They still have the option where they can make a deal, release him, or trade him, do whatever they have to do. He has to stay on the books an extra year. This would have been a contract year, Tony. And he's not going to get paid.
He wasn't planning on playing anyway, but
well, supposedly there were 2 teams that were interested in him and making a deal for him.
And the Falcons didn't even field offers. They didn't even listen or speak to anyone.
Yeah, well, one of the teams was the New England Patriots. That's confirmed.
Yeah, and they wouldn't. The Falcons wouldn't even accept any talks at all on a trade offer for him.
Yeah, they took him off. Basically, they took him off the board.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey.
Let's go to your take. I want to talk to Tony on this. Tony, let me ask you this. You're a player. You played. You've been in an NFL locker room. It's posted right there. Do not gamble, isn't it?
Yeah. What you have to realize, we actually looked through the contracts today because I wanted to see what the verbiage was. They haven't changed that verbiage in 60 years now. Since Alex Karras and
Paul
Hornung and all those guys got caught in the early 60s to mid 60s.
That was major. That was a major scandal.
Yeah, major scandal. When you sign a professional contract, and anyone who's ever signed a contract, they actually can go to DC and get their contract pulled. And it's on the contract in 15. I sent it to you guys. It says the integrity of the game. You're not allowed to gamble on your team or against or for anything while you are playing. It's so far that you have legends who are around players, they still don't gamble. One way to get NFL players not to talk to you is go around them and talk to them about the line or the over-under. They won't even talk to you.
It's taboo. It's taboo. They don't want their name associated with that, Tony, right?
Yeah, you don't play with that because it's posted in every locker room. It's posted in every facility, every weight room. It's posted all around the facility. So guys know.
Cody, what do you think? Do you buy into that?
I think it's ridiculous. The guy he's a reserve player who stepped away from the league over a year ago. He hasn't stepped foot on the field. He's clearly not out here throwing games or using inside information. He made a parlay bet one time. He lost it on top of that and didn't win anything. I just think it's crazy to you look at these guys who are out here beating women and literally catching real criminal charges, and they're getting suspended for 6 games, 8 games. This guy made a bet, and he's not even an active player in the league, and they suspended him for a whole season and took $11 million from him.
You know what this kind of gives me a feel of, Cody?
I just think it needs to be reevaluated, man. It doesn't make
I'm starting to come to Cody's side, Tony. You're going to have to pull me back because, listen, you know what this sounds like? This sounds like some shit the NCAA would do, doesn't it, Tony?
Like Joe Mixon literally almost killed a lady with a right hook.
Because the NFL has gotten in bed with gambling. They're in bed with them. They can no longer say that they do not have any connection to gambling.
No, they can't say that.
Is in bed with gambling now.
But let me explain something to you so we understand it. I will gamble on the game. So I'm not a hypocrite in saying that you're wrong. But when you're talking about the lines of these games, which is millions and millions and millions of dollars, Calvin Ridley, because he played at Alabama, can pick up his phone and get in touch with a player on every single team. That's an advantage. I don't care how you want to look at it. That's an advantage. So when he go place a bet, it's different than you or I placing the bet. Because believe me, if I'm going to bet on Dallas versus Washington, I'm going to talk to my people that I know from Alabama that I went to school with. I'm going to talk to their friends.
My thing is this, man. I'm not saying he didn't fuck up. I'm not saying he didn't sign a contract.
Right.
Didn't break the rules.
We know.
I clearly understand that. I'm just saying I think the whole aspect of it needs to be reevaluated, that you can have these players who are literally almost killing people and doing real criminal things and still playing that same freaking season.
Well,
this guy doesn't even option to and took $11 million from him.
Hey, look at this. You could be a congressman
because he made a bet.
You could be a congressman, and congressmen, senators, they have access to business information and stock trading that me or you don't have, and they're still allowed to trade stocks,
which they shouldn't be allowed.
It's the same thing. I think trading stocks is basically rich people gambling.
And
that's all it is.
And the investigation determined that there was zero involvement from any other players, coaches, or etc.
And thank God for
zero contact at all within his cell phone to any of those players or teams or anyone else at all either. So it clearly was, after the investigation, an innocent bet. But yes, it still broke the contract. I just don't think the punishment fits the crime at all. I think it's way excessive.
I agree with you, Cody. I would also go one step further. I would say for $1,500 worth of bets and you're a millionaire, I could find something better for that dude to do if he's bored.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll find him something.
Ridley is really dumb.
Tell Calvin to come to DC. I know a couple of places where we can meet some ladies at the Gentlemen's Club for
$1,500 and get way more of a return.
$1,500 at your local Camelot. I can get you set up.
Well, I'll tell you right now what the worst odds in Vegas are. Your man bet 1,500 and lost 11.5. So that's
hey guys, what we need to look at. This isn't about Calvin Ridley. This is bigger than Calvin Ridley because, Cody, when we go to Maryland Live and we place a bet, we now know that thing hasn't been compromised. Why? Because people like Paul Hornett, people like Calvin Ridley, they know. I'm telling you guys, when we get around active players, you can talk fantasy all day to them. Matter of fact, they play fantasy. That's for fun. The minute you say, hey, man, do you know what the over-under is? Do you know what the point spread is? They will walk away from you. They will never talk to you again.
Probably not.
Never. Okay, so that part right there is where I side with them because I am a bettor. And I want to make sure when I bet on this game and they better not be selling me out because I'm coming for blood and I'm suing the NFL. Remember, the NFL, if you are caught like this, do you know how many bettors in this country want to come at the NFL and file class action suits for fixing games?
That's what the NFL is trying to avoid.
Okay, so if you're trying to avoid it, $1,500 equal $11.6 million. I bet you won't nobody else be betting.
Well, Tony, we've seen this before. Back in the 1960s with the game shows. The game shows that were rigged, that they found out, were rigged. I think it was Charles Van Doren, whose father was a Columbia professor, and
wasn't that the
he was
quiz
a
show?
professor at Harvard or something like that. And it turned out that those quiz shows were rigged. Now, those quiz shows were rigged so that they could sell things like Tang and Geritol, right? This is a whole different thing of what the NFL is doing. The NFL right now is in a precarious position. And, Roger Goodell and the higher ups all understand this is a bit of an unholy alliance with gambling. Because on the one hand, I can turn on my local ESPN affiliate and there's a gambling show on the radio. All they talk about, Tony, if you heard these guys, all they talk about are betting lines, the line moved, point spreads, action, VIG, all of this stuff. They talk about it now openly on the radio at a time when we didn't used to see that. You see what I'm saying? It used to be you didn't hear them talk about what the point. The old NFL, the old NFL Today show, right? They used to talk about betting lines. Jimmy the Greek. That they talked about that, but they didn't want to talk about where the smart money in Vegas is, or the line moved because of this, or that there's a lot of money coming in on the Cowboys, so the line shifted, or a lot of money on the Redskins, and then the line shifted. They aren't talking about it like that because now we have savvy bettors that are not Vegas people. We're not talking like Ace Rothstein from Casino. We're just talking about regular Joes like us that get into the gambling game and are good at it. They know what they're doing. And these guys can make some serious money. Okay. And they can bet on anything. They bet on Madden, the Madden tournament. They bet on that. There's a line for that. Did you know that, Tony?
I didn't know it was a line for the Madden tournament.
Yes. If you have your favorite player, you can bet on him. There's a line for that.
They bet on the Puppy Bowl.
They bet on the Puppy Bowl. You're damn right. I'm going to tell you where the real betting is. You want to hear some real crazy money? You want to know where the real crazy money is?
What?
He would win.
Ivy League sports.
What?
Ivy League. Just among themselves. You know what I'm saying? I'm an Ivy Leaguer. I'm worth a couple $100 million. My boy is worth a couple $100 million. Money will change hands with those jokers in the hundreds of thousands, like it's nothing. Just write a check. And it's they don't go to Vegas to do it. It's just a me or you bet. But they bet a lot of money. Okay. Buddy of mine works in casinos in Vegas. What he told me was he works in the high roller room at Harrah's. What he told me was he's like, look, man, when the Asians come, when they come from Hong Kong and Japan, and they come for the New Year, he said they go bananas, absolutely bananas. It's part of their culture. They want to you make all this money for them in their culture, in most Asian cultures. If you don't gamble it, put it back in the universe, put it back, you won't be blessed. In other words, if you told people in the United States that, they would be like, oh, I should gamble? Okay, because we're the most compulsive people in the world.
I'll tell Calvin Ridley that.
Oh, my God. Calvin Ridley right now is just got to be sick. Okay. And actually, I read it. By the way, Cody, I tagged you in a couple of
lighting him up.
His tweets. Right now, Calvin Ridley is in the middle of a Twitter storm where people at the same time are supporting him, making fun of him, clowning him. There's some people on there like a third base coach begging him to stop. Get off of Twitter. Erase your Twitter account. Get off of this. His agent, his agent has got to talk to him. He has got to get him under control. I was just on Twitter 15 minutes ago, Tony. I'll screenshot you. There's some pieces like, I'll just be healthy when I come back next year. Bruh, what are you doing? You should not be talking. Brian McCann said, I don't think so. No. He might not get back in the league because he's suspended indefinitely. Which means he's got to appeal.
It's just for the 2022 season.
You sure?
Yeah, it is. He doesn't get the reinstate back until like February 15th.
Yeah, but he's going to still have to. He's still going to have to get reinstatement from the league. He's got to at least say something to them. Hey, This is what I've been doing with my time off. I did this, I did this, I did a diversion program, learned about what I did was bad, blah, blah, blah. But right now, he ain't apologizing. He gonna have to apologize. This is the NFL, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shitty day for Ridley, just an example of how important our choices are. Hey, 1777 memorabilia, thanks for joining the show on the TD Report. One of our listeners, our viewers, chimed in there, 1777 memorabilia. Thank you. I agree. Calvin Ridley, was he bored?
He said, quote, I bet $1,500 total. I don't have a gambling problem. I couldn't even watch football at that point. Just going to be more healthy when I come back.
He's probably right.
Oh, boy.
Listen, he is probably right. He got millions, and he doesn't have a gambling problem. But the problem he has is the contract that he signed and the NFL with their integrity for inside of the game. Now, you may think it's hypocritical but Cody, remember we talked last week, I said, I think the Redskins Stadium is going to end up in Oxon Hill next to the MGM thing because it's about 6 or 7 stadiums that are going up next to casinos. They're not going up next to casinos because they want the players gambling. They're going up because that's the foot traffic. And they seeing a marriage there as far as they fans between fantasy. Listen, it's so bad. San Francisco opened their stadium about 8 years ago. They have a fantasy football lounge in their stadium.
So does Nats Park. Washington Nationals has one. Washington Nationals has a betting parlor inside their facility. And it's state of the art, Tony. We got to go in there. It's state of the art.
I mean, gambling is a way, just not for the players.
I just don't think the punishment fits the crime.
You're right. No. The punishment probably does not fit the crime, but the punishment is from years and years and years and years, and making sure. Cody,
look, I get it. I get it because you don't want anyone to throw a game. Shit, I don't want nobody to throw a game. I think it might be fixed every once in a while now that I watch it. So I'm glad that it's not. But like, it's just I don't know. Especially I think with as much things that become a circumstantial situation when it comes to these investigations, I think this is specifically one that should have not been take $11 million away from this guy and keep him from coming back a whole year if he wants to.
So what do you think they do? Spend him half the season?
They suspend him 6 games, fine him $500,000 like they do with any other domestic violence or PED suspension that's happened in the past 8 to 9.
I didn't read the contract all the way. I gotta look at the contract and see what is the punishment for when you gamble in your sport.
You have to. It's not in the contract, Tony. It's going to be in the collective bargaining agreement.
Yeah,
all the teams have to abide by the collective bargaining agreement. So there's only a certain amount of maximum of what they can charge. Now, what I don't know is if the league looks at it as a graduated plan where, hey, if you're Aaron Rodgers, well, you know what? I know it isn't, because Aaron Rodgers, for what he did with COVID, his fine was so small. People are like, that doesn't hurt. That was probably the maximum that the team could give him. There's team fines and there's league fines. A team, like, for example, being late for something or not doing something. Oh, your socks are too high or too low. Or you wear the wrong color socks. They can only charge you $1,500.
So
they can't charge you more.
Has the Players Association come out and say if that's excessive for Ridley? Because we won't know till we hear from DeMaurice Smith.
We'll hear from him tomorrow.
Until that comes out. Yeah, we'll hear from him tomorrow.
Yeah, when we hear from him tomorrow,
DeMaurice is very smart. He is not going to come off. He's going to probably talk to Ridley and his people first and talk with his NFLPA executive council before he says anything. Now, I haven't checked his Twitter feed today. I'm sure he'll probably have said something like, we'll have a statement on this. Haven't talked to Calvin yet. But DeMaurice does a good job with what he does. He's good. But he got to be careful on this one. I think he's really got to be careful and not upset anything or push anything too far. Now, part of his job is to be controversial, because when you're in the job that he's in, you're going to be in tough spots. So, hey, guys, that's a great segment. You know, we did exactly almost 20 minutes just on that. But that's been roiling on social media for the past 3-4 hours. Let's move on. Let's move back a little bit. Last week, we talked about the combine, NFL draft combine. Seen some really fast times, seen some times that were unofficial on the 40-yard dash that were either pushed to the positive direction or the negative direction, depending on what the situation was. What's your feeling on the future of the NFL draft combine? Did the way they ran it this year make it to where, hey, we're going to continue to see more of this where it's televised, or are we going to start seeing less and less of it?
I'm starting to believe that they specifically invited the fastest players they could find in the NCAA to make it more exciting and to try to combat that whole argument of it's not bringing the ratings that it has or the what it could bring. And because you saw nothing but speed for every single day of the combine. I mean, speed like we haven't seen, so it's like I think they just specifically went after something they thought was going to excite people.
What did Jordan Davis run? The big defensive tackle from Georgia.
Yeah, 4.78.
Okay,
and like 108 pounds or something like that.
What is he? 380, Tony?
No, didn't he get down to like 350?
360? No, 365. 365, and ran a 4.78, and he's 6'5". Here's what just really just caught my eye. Tony, he's a big dude. He doesn't look like a big dude when he runs.
No, he doesn't.
He is fluid. You hear me? He's an athlete.
I'm mad at it. I bet you. Can you imagine the pound that he's bringing coming on that line?
Here's even better. Here's an even bigger point, Tony. He hasn't been in a pro weight room yet. Pro strength and conditioning hasn't even touched this guy yet at the pro level. Now, I saw what Aaron Donald looked like at his pro day. The difference between what he looked like at his at his combine, and what he looks like now. Oh my God, he looks like he looks like he looks like Juggernaut. I mean, he's literally
the size of
his body fat. It's unbelievable.
Fellas, since we're talking about the draft, a couple things that I noticed from looking at these guys. One thing is the top of your draft order right now, because Jacksonville's picking first, it should be an offensive lineman. He got to take somebody.
I got Evan Neal there.
He has to take an offensive lineman. And that comes from the Super Bowl with Joe Burrow, and he don't want to turn him into Andrew Luck 2.0.
Hey,
secondly, those defensive linemen this week, they made some money. They made some money this week at that combine. Third, the combine is supposed to move is either supposed to be Indianapolis, LA, or Dallas. I'm telling you right now, if it moves out of Indy, it's going to Dallas. Because they got the perfect facilities for it.
Jerry will not be undersold. Okay?
Oh, no. Now, but you remember, Jerry is the one who backed Kroenke to get his facility. And his facility, they say, is better. His stadium is better than Jerry's. But that other facility, there's no facility better than that. And it's made for a combine. I mean, the rooms, everything's close. 5-star hotel, all restaurants.
Everything
is right there.
Jerry World.
They don't have to leave facility. Yeah.
So if you ever been to Bowie Town Center, the practice facility will be where the Nordstrom's is.
Right.
All the other stuff will be as far as Best Buy is to Nordstrom. And all that is all right there. So if you imagine a town center.
From the hotel to everything.
The hotel, all that stuff is right there. Everything.
Well,
million workout rooms.
I'm going to piggyback on something you said, Cody. I saw some of the workouts. I looked over on Evan Neal's Twitter and his IG. Evan Neal did a box jump at 330 pounds, Tony, that I've never seen a man this big do it. Did you see it? Had the box jumps at 30, had the box jumps at like 30 or 20 something, 20 inches. From a standstill, 2 feet on the ground, went straight up between two of them and did a split and held his body weight. Swear to God. Bruh, Someone said, well, what does that have to do with football? I said, athleticism, strength,
flexibility.
Look at that, Tony. Look at that. Watch.
You know what he just did?
Yeah.
You know what he just did? He just saved his quarterback from getting hit.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
See that flexibility right there? That's getting that leg back and stopping the guy from coming around.
Correct.
That's flexibility.
That's the kick. It's the kick.
It's
you need to have that.
Look at that.
That's incredible, dude.
That's stopping Chase Young from
getting around a pocket too.
Well, it's not. You're not going to do something, Tony. You aren't going to stop Chase Young, but what you are going to do is make him take the long way around and give your quarterback room to step up.
So we can explain this. The longer your arms are, the more likely you are to be a tackle. So when you go to push out, it's making you bow, like you said, bow around, get him around you so the quarterback can step up.
Yeah, crazy balance.
Now, the ones with the T-Rex arms, those are your guards in your
center. That's a guard.
Because you got a little small space to take
keep it close.
Close. But the ones with the long arms, you notice they want you to bow around. They want that long arm to punch and get you around.
Push that edge.
The more arc you, the less likely you are to get to their quarterback. If Jacksonville doesn't take him first, they're trying to kill Trevor Lawrence.
If they don't take him first, someone taking him second because you got to. You got to. Now, Detroit, last year, who did Detroit Lions take? They took Penei Sewell, didn't they?
Yeah, I got them taking Kyle Hamilton.
No.
They'll take Kyle Hamilton. The Chargers last year got Rashad.
They take Hutchinson.
That's who I have in my other draft. I'm still working between three of them right now to narrow down.
Hutchinson is second. Neal first, Hutchinson.
This is going to be one of the most unsettled drafts in the top five that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard.
There's no consensus in the top five, really. Usually around this time, it's going to be this quarterback, this running back, this defensive end, this tackle. Right now, it could be any one of five guys. It could literally be any one of five guys, Tony. I mean,
it could be.
If Evan goes first, I'll be very happy. I'll be very happy for the Jacksonville franchise. I'll be thinking they got a great cornerstone to their team. You've got to have that guy. Now, look, we talked about it on the last show. Cincinnati Bengals had a shot to do something very similar last year. They didn't. They went the unconventional road and went with Jamar Chase, and he took them all the way to the Super Bowl, him and Joe. So there's a couple of ways to do it, Tony.
But that's 1 year.
That's just one, and they did it in 1 year.
The problem now is coming down to the offensive line. And that 1 year, did you sell your soul to the devil for 1 year? Because don't tell me, Joe Burrow's going to be back to the Super Bowl. Because in 1984-85, when Dan Marino had that great year, he went to the Super Bowl. We said, Dan Marino's going to be into a whole bunch of them. 15 years later, 0 Super Bowls.
Yeah. Did they even make an AFC championship game after that?
Yeah, they made a couple of them.
They made a couple. Couldn't get over the hump. Couldn't get it done.
Couldn't get there.
So, as we start to move along, Cody, you watched a lot more combine than I did. I got to admit. What did you think of Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati? I thought he ran well.
I like him. I hope he falls to 11 because if he does, I think Washington takes him.
I think that's a good pick.
I think Singletary Jr. or
Stingley
Jr. Yeah, Stingley Jr. is going to go before him. So I think there's a chance that he could fall to 11, and I'd like him over there in Washington. But
you see two defensive backs going in the top 11?
What about your quarterback? Yes. At 11.
Mitch Trubisky, baby. It's going to be Trubisky.
Even if they get Trubisky, they got to still get another quarterback.
We can
they'll take him in the second or third.
We'll get Ritter in the second.
Yeah, you'll get Ritter.
Second.
Yes, he is.
He's not going that far in the second.
Watch.
He will.
Okay.
He will.
Ritter ran a 4.48, 6.4.
Tony, you know who Ritter reminds me of when he ran? You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Aaron Brooks. His body type. Tall and lanky. That's what he is. I thought he was a small guy. He's tall.
Yeah, he's 6'4".
Yeah. I didn't know he was that tall. I thought he was a smaller guy because of how much he runs. You see what I'm saying? He reminds me a little bit of Aaron Brooks, maybe not the same arm. Aaron Brooks had a hose.
Yeah, nah. Pick 42 overall. I think we'll be getting Desmond Ridder.
42 overall is a very good spot for him. There's no disrespect to being drafted at the 42nd pick, Tony.
I'm not saying disrespect, but Ridder's, listen, man. Ridder's
that's right. He's your boy.
Ridder's better
your boy.
than them dudes.
Okay.
Man, he bet. Listen, some GM gonna get fired this year messing with these first-round quarterbacks because they actually are reaching. I'm not saying Ridder's a first-round quarterback. Now, if I'm Ridder's people, the team I pray to go to will be the Los Angeles Rams. He will be perfect for them.
Because he can sit behind.
And
one of the top coach. One of those top guys is going to be there at 42. One of them.
Yeah.
Because one of them is
if not more.
Yeah, I mean, between Willis, Corral, Ridder, Pickett, I mean, like if you go down the list of these guys that are right there all in that same area, one of them's going to be available at 42.
Hey, Cody, I'm with you because that's exactly where they should be drafted. Now, where they should be drafted versus the pressure from the GMs of trying to make something happen, we don't know until
I'm not
we don't know
any of them guys at 11 though. I'm not taking none of them guys at 11.
Oh no, I wouldn't take none of them at 11 either.
I'm taking that shutdown quarterback who hasn't allowed a touchdown all year long and has allowed like 14 yards in his career or some shit. Something crazy.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Give me that cornerback at 11, and we'll take a risk on whoever we can get down there at 42, and we'll get somebody in free agency and let them sit there and start next year, and our rookie will sit behind them and learn, and then we'll be good.
I like it. I think Washington – well, here's where Washington needs to be wary. What a lot of people in D.C. are talking about was obviously, getting Deshaun Watson in here. And something I didn't think, I think that ship is set. I think that ship has sailed. But
is it?
I forgot the Philadelphia Eagles are sitting there with 3 first-round picks this year. They have the capital. They could get the deal done if it came down to that.
They only have 1 first round, I thought.
Eagles? No, they've got 3.
3.
Sheesh. So this 2 seconds.
Right. So they can give the draft capital up and get the deal paid for in 1 year. Then they don't have to worry about our pick next year and all of that stuff. They've already done it. You see what I'm saying? So if that's what happens and he ends up in Philadelphia, I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. If he ends up in Philadelphia, that screws up the division real bad for Dallas and Washington.
Well, they doubled down on Jalen Hurts and said that he's their quarterback.
Okay. But if you are the Houston Texans, you move Watson out. If you get a Jalen Hurts, who is by all accounts a solid guy, solid dude, good locker room guy, pretty good leader, you get him in return.
We do have to remember that Deshaun Watson does have a trade clause, and he has to be able to choose to lift it for.
But he wants to get out of Houston.
True.
You want out? This is out. But he could say no. He could. But it doesn't look like there's not a cacophony of teams just going all in right now that I can hear, that I can see rumors.
There's pretty big offers been fielded for a couple people. I've heard that people have reached out for Russell Wilson. I heard Washington made a decent offer for Wilson.
That's confirmed. That's confirmed. They did.
Yeah, I heard people have reached out for Watson. And the only thing right now for Watson is the contingency of his criminal charges.
His criminal charges, which, we're almost – it could be 3 weeks. And then we'll start to see the dominoes fall. Well,
they're saying about a week and a half to 2 weeks before stuff starts getting cleared up to the point where he'll be ready to go to whatever team's ready for him and start right away. Get right to work.
So let's talk about the other elephant in the room. Word comes out of Green Bay today that they are making another mega deal extension for Aaron Rodgers. We don't know if the offer is officially on the table or if it's been presented to Rodgers or it's about to be, or they're going to do a, PowerPoint or whatever and show him how much money he's going to be making. What's Rodgers' cap hit now? He's like at what, 44, 45? Something like that.
38. Or,
he's at
what? No, was that Matt?
Pull it up. Hold on, I'm pulling it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Matt Ryan. That's the largest cap hit ever. Player.
48.
No, Matt Ryan's was, they said.
Yeah, 48.
Oh, yeah. And Rodgers is at 47.
Okay. Rodgers is at 47 now. What I'm hearing through my sources is that we're talking about well over $50 million a year. He's going to get more than Wonder Boy in Kansas City.
Why would you pay him that much money?
That's insane.
I don't know what's going on in Green Bay because they went through this with Brett Favre, right? Kept rolling it, kicking the can down the road. Oh, we'll talk after the season. We'll get it worked out. But we got this young guy that we want to get in there, and we can't do that with you here. This is the same scenario, guys. If Aaron Rodgers gets this deal and decides he wants to take it, that changes the complexion for a lot of teams. For example, my big example, the Washington football team. Not only does that take a potential free agent quarterback off the market, if he's still in Green Bay and they manage to keep Devontae or they don't, him being in Green Bay changes the trajectory or the complexion of that matchup. Because the way I counted the Redskins win total this year based on a win over Green Bay. So if Aaron Rodgers is in Green Bay, that makes my prediction a lot less likely to happen. Very similar, Cody, to how you picked the San Diego game. You said if they beat San Diego, they'll win 10.
Yeah,
and they did. Right?
It completely changes the.
You see what I'm saying? It hinges on that, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think about the prospects of Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay after all this talking, after all of this back and forth?
I've felt that it's been that way for a while, and I feel like he's kind of all but alluded to that as well. The only thing that's thrown me off in the process is what I mentioned last week when they did that promo for the overseas, and he wasn't anywhere at all to be found in the promo for the overseas game for next season. And so that threw me off a bit. But outside of that, I've always kind of thought he was going to be ended up back in Green Bay.
The posturing, though, Cody. Last year.
I think it's just media. I don't think that is really what's happening. I think people are fishing for a story between then and March 16th. Because until then, they have nothing to go on. Nothing's happening. It's the middle of
2 years ago. But 2 years ago, Aaron Rodgers had a lot to say about possibly not being back. This year, not as much talk. But, obviously the speculation was going to be there because of what happened the year before last, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy. Now, again, if Aaron Rodgers stays put, if Russell Wilson stays put, that takes two potential, and let's use the other one, Matt Ryan. Let's say those three guys all stay put, okay? That takes three potential trade or free agent quarterbacks off the market, and that pushes the market. That pushes the market down. Oh, and Derek Carr, that's four. If those four guys all stay in the same place, they don't move. That pushes guys like Mitch Trubisky. That pushes them up, right? That makes them more marketable. You see what I'm saying? If Russell Wilson is out there in the market as somebody that's viable that you can get, nobody's looking at Mitch Trubisky, right? Why would you, right? You would want Russell Wilson. What do you think about that, Kenny Rogers? The gambler.
Listen, Mitch Trubisky makes sense for them if they're going to draft, if they're going to extend Ron on his contract. But I don't think Ron survives next year if they're not a winning team.
Oh, they will be. They will be. There's the NFC East right now is extremely soft. Okay, after Dallas, very soft. So you can nestle yourself up there. Yes, with a second place or third place schedule, you can nestle yourself right there in second place in the NFC East with a winning record.
Last place schedule.
But and you got a fourth place schedule for Washington.
No, they don't. They didn't finish fourth.
No, y'all didn't finish
third place. You're right, third place.
Yeah, you played third place.
First thing that you have to do, this is the first year that we all get an extra home game. So that makes a difference for all 4 teams. Last year, we were at a disadvantage. All 4 teams had 9 road games and only 8 home games. It flip-flops this year. So when you get an extra home game, that changes the whole division. So right then, you give every team an extra home game. So, yeah, that changes based upon all the rest of the conference. And that helps us out. So it ain't as weak as you think it is. Next thing is, Philadelphia's not sorry.
Nope. They ain't no punk.
3 first-round picks. If they fill the holes on 3 first-round picks, they could. Let's say they got 3 Michael Parsons at either position. Well, I'm using that as an example.
No, those don't exist in this draft.
They're not going to hit. They're not going to hit.
Wait a minute. Let's say they got the big lineman from Georgia. Okay.
Ooh.
Let's say they got the corner from Cincinnati.
Damn.
Okay. And let's say they got one of the edge rushers, the dude from Michigan. Say they got those 3, and that makes it fills the holes.
Well, I see what he's saying. So you see what he's saying. If they get one guy at every level, that helps them. One guy on the line, one guy in the linebacker core.
I think they're going to be sorry next year.
Dude,
they weren't sorry this year.
They will be next year.
Dude, I don't know what y'all.
Dallas is going to take a step back. They have to. They've got salary cap. They've got salary cap problems that are popping up like daisies.
Dallas don't have no. When they get rid of your boy Cooper, they already got your boy Gone, who's counted $10 million against the cap.
But wait a minute. Gone. Now comes word from Dallas that Randy Gregory might want a bigger deal than they think he's going to be asking for.
They're not signing him.
They're not going to sign him?
No. Listen,
they just said it.
We're not messing with
that just came out? Okay.
Yeah.
We're not messing with
speculation yesterday. Okay.
And if that other dude, Lawrence, don't want to redo his deal, he going to be cut. Man,
he doesn't. He doesn't. He's already said he doesn't want a pay cut.
Well, you know what? It got to go. Because them dumb dodo, Gregory dumb dodo was the one who played the flag.
What?
Who's replacing him?
Dallas drafted Young last year.
They drafted Young last year on defense. Yeah, they picked up an edge. They picked up an edge last year.
They're all just going to come out and play the same way that they did this year?
I think
they're going to have to play
guys with all that money.
Yeah, they're going to have to play differently this year. They're going to go with the youth movement on defense.
I'm talking about as far as taking a step back. That's
our defense.
They'll take a step back.
Our defense was very young last year. A lot of the guys, we had 2 guys that was hurt that was probably better than the starters that were young. I can get Brian on the phone with you who studied Dallas. When I was raving about the linebackers a couple years ago, he got to argue with me and told me our linebackers were terrible. Come to find out, he was right, because I thought Jalen Smith and I thought Van der Bosch, I thought they were the greatest things since sliced bread. He broke the film down and showed that them dudes were absolutely awful. I am telling you, Dan Quinn, that was the biggest move of the offseason. Had Dan Quinn left Dallas, Dallas would be looking at 7-9 or 7-10. Dan Quinn,
I think they're looking at 7-9, 7-10 already.
No. They're about a 9-18. They're 9-18 as they sit.
Clip that.
Yeah, clip it. Dallas goes 9-8.
I'm telling you right now, that defense is going to be the key for them. And remember, years past, Dallas would have held on to people like Amari Cooper and messed up. Now they're starting to think football. They doing what New England or Pittsburgh would do. They're starting to say, oh, we're going to get rid of you now before you really mess up our cap, and let's get a team together.
Now, Dallas probably should have been a little more aggressive in trying to move Cooper last year during the season or make a move, because now in the off season with the impending cap hit about to happen. And when does the league season end? The league year ends on the 20th.
16th.
16th. So everybody has to be cap compliant on the 16th. So it's moving day, folks. That's what it is, baby. You ain't got to go home. You ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here.
And that's fine. Listen, dog, we're gonna be fine. But Philadelphia, if they complete those 3 positions, and those 3 positions are really, really good players, they are going to be a problem.
They're not going to be any fun. I'll tell you that. I mean, they battled last year. They fought really hard.
A reverse NFC East than what we've seen in the past couple of years.
Yeah. Yep. So as we move on the TD report, Tony's favorite subject, your North Carolina Tar Heels send Coach Mike Krzyzewski out with a loss in his last regular season game.
Fuck out of here.
Hubert Davis and North Carolina take care of Duke at Coach K Court at Cameron Indoor Stadium. How do you feel about that, Tony?
Like I said, when I walked in the live casino, I'm sitting there with a bunch of young dudes, and I started talking about Carolina, and they like, well, the line 11 and blah, 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 and Duke and Duke and Duke and Duke. I said, listen, fellas, I've been watching this series longer than y'all been alive. They said, you don't know how long I've been. I said, well, y'all born in 1988? They said, no. I said, well, I've been watching the series since 1980. I said, I know this series. I said, they beat us by 20, and the Duke is a better team. I said, but here's the problem. We always play them tough in Cameron on the last game of the year. It's every even year we play them tough.
I love that game. I enjoyed watching it. I honestly turned it on thinking Carolina has no chance. And as the game inched on and Carolina hung in, hey, your boy Bakat, he balled out, dog. 10 for 11 from the field, 23 points.
4 players with 20 points.
4 players with 20 points. And Carolina did not substitute in the second half. They went with an iron 5. Their starters went the whole way in the second half. Tony, that's one of the more impressive things that you're going to see in college sports, is to see a team of North Carolina's caliber not substitute in the second half.
Hey, man.
In a pressure situation.
I enjoyed every minute of that game because for 40 minutes, they made up for 40 years.
How so? What do you mean by that?
Because, man, the last time that he ever stepped on that floor as a coach, he lost to us.
It's going to haunt him. He's going to remember. He was hurt. Coach
He was hurt. He was hurt so bad that he basically telling them to be quiet and not giving us no credit. That's good because you show who you really are, Coach K, with that crap you did to Tommy Amica. I ain't messing with Coach K.
Listen, Tony, the celebs were out in full effect. Jerry Seinfeld, Adam Silver. I mean, you name it. Big name people were there to watch this event. And North Carolina spoiled the show. They spoiled the party.
They spoiled it. And you can see it in the players when the game was over, how emotional they were. That wasn't a regular game, folks.
No.
Listen, I will tell you, Duke will beat them next week probably by 15. Duke will beat them in the tournament probably by 10.
Yep.
But on that night, in that day,
got him.
Does all that matters. Because in history, when it's written, they're going to say, when was Mike Krzyzewski's last game on his court?
Then, again, we've got handshake line shenanigans. Chris Carrawell, assistant coach of the Duke Blue Devils, refused to shake hands with Hubert Davis. Now, let me say something about Hubert Davis, and we've talked about him on our show a couple of times. Hubert Davis is a class individual. He's a good guy.
Lake Braddock High School, Burke.
Lake Braddock High School. And he was a great football player in high school, too. Probably could have played college football if he wanted to. But to not shake Hubert Davis's hand, there were people in basketball circles that thought that he shouldn't get that North Carolina job. Right? Now, let's contrast this. Roy Williams went to the North Carolina boosters. He went to the administration and said, this guy should have this job because he believes in North Carolina. He believes in the Carolina way. Contrast that with what happened to Tommy Amaker at Duke. Tommy Amaker did so much for that Duke program. You could argue that if Mike Krzyzewski does not sign Tommy Amaker and Johnny Dawkins, that he loses his job. You could argue that. They saved his job.
They saved his job.
The Duke administration wanted Tommy Amaker to have this job. They had made their decision from the athletic director's chair, okay? And Mike Krzyzewski went back to them and said, you can't do it. He submarined his own guy. I know college basketball is a business, Tony. It's a business. But that's not the way to do business, man. You can't play this, hey, we're family, because that's what coaches tell you, right? I'm going to take care of you, kid. We're family. You do this for me and take care of me like family. I'm going to take care of you. And then when it comes time to get that job that you worked your career to get,
yep.
Then the coach tells you, sorry, kid, I gave it to somebody else. Now, Coach K's reason for doing that was he felt he could have more control over the program. Wait a minute. Aren't you retired? If you want to have control over the program, then stay on as coach.
That's Bush League.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't think it's right. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's right. Listen, Tony, I've got a 16-year-old son, okay? You know that. You've known Harrison since he was a baby, right? At some point, he's got to call his own shots and be his own man. I can't live his life for him, right? Correct. So when it came time for him to pick a high school, he had choice A and choice B, and he made his choice. And I said, you're going to have to live with it. This is your choice to make, and I didn't stand in his way so he could live his own life. I wouldn't want my son to ever say, my dad didn't let me pick the high school or the college I wanted to go to, right? This is Mike Krzyzewski telling Tommy Amaker, hey, you got the job, but I didn't let you have it.
And that's
ugly. That's ugly, Tony. I don't like it. It just gives me this icky feeling. But one thing can say this, and you're a Carolina fan, this will make you feel so much better. Carolina fans are going to smash this in Duke's face forever. That when Coach K had his chance to send his legacy on to one of his great players from the very beginning, he didn't do it. I'm not saying that John Shire is not going to be a good coach. I'm not saying that John Shire was not a good Duke player, because he was. But this is about family.
He was okay. He was
a good player too. He was a good player for them, Tony. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Tony. Let Christian Laettner have wanted that job. He'd have it. I'll say that. If Christian Laettner or Bobby Hurley wanted that job, they'd have it. Tell me I'm wrong.
But they weren't the most important people in the history of the program.
Two of them, yeah.
They were down the list. Johnny Dawkins and Amaker saved him. He should be owing all that money to them. And for him to do that, I'd never mess with Coach K.
Coach K, his coaching tree right now is pretty big. He's got 10 guys that are coaching right now. Chris Collins is coaching. Wojciechowski is coaching. Nate James. Kenny Blakeney is coaching. Hey, shout out to Kenny Blakeney at Howard.
Shout out. Blakeney's a good dude.
He's a great dude, local dude. Hey, wait a minute. We could do a whole show on local dudes that went to Duke and helped build that program. Mm-hmm. They built it.
It's a bunch of them.
To a national. You know what? Duke University basketball is it's a global brand. People all over the world know Duke University basketball.
Y'all
I can't say it to a Carolina guy.
No, because y'all tripping with that stuff. We've been there longer.
Always got to get Tony going.
And come on, man.
So you don't think that Duke University basketball is as big a brand or is a global brand like UNC.
No.
There's nothing like UNC, I will say that. But Duke has done a good job trying to catch up the last 40 years, T.
I mean, they've done a good job, but man, I ain't messing with them. I'll mess with them. You understand the way
I get it. I
don't mess with them.
Hey, listen, I got to give a couple of shout outs, okay? Do you mind? We're going to end the show with these. Is that cool? Let me give a couple of shout outs. I want to give a shout out to my son, Harrison Combs, at the Heights School. Made it onto the varsity team to play baseball. He's real excited. We got his, I got his helmet done for him, T.
He's a junior, right?
Huh?
He's a junior?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. That looks
How's
good.
that helmet look?
Looks good, man. Look like Harvard.
Professionally done? Yeah, it looks good, right? So yeah, I want to give Harrison a shout out. He's still got an A average in school doing his thing, man. And one more for my niece. My niece, Taylor Claiborne, plays basketball at University of Maryland Eastern Shore on the women's basketball team. Unfortunately, she tore her Achilles tendon against Howard, and it's her senior season, Tony. That's it. So her college basketball career is over. She graduated from Seton back down here in Bladensburg. Great kid, and very proud of her.
When did she tear the Achilles?
Huh?
When did she do that?
About 3 weeks ago against Howard. They were playing against Howard. Hey, Tony, my girl had 18 points when she went down. She was balling.
Wow.
She blew her Achilles out. So she had her senior night last week. I wanted to give her a shout out because I wasn't able to make it. You know, Taylor, you had a great high school career, great collegiate career. Thank you for everything you did, and get well and get ready to get out in the world of work. You know, graduating in May with a degree in biomechanics.
Shit.
Did pretty well for herself, man. She's a great student, and we'll try to get her on the show, T. But had to give the youngsters a shout out, man.
Yes, indeed.
Shout out to Sidwell Friends for winning the city championship. Congratulations.
Yeah. Didn't they beat Wilson?
They beat Wilson at the buzzer, Tony.
Okay. Yes.
On a tip-in at the buzzer. And I had not seen the Smith Center. They must have undergone a facelift on the inside. They must have done some renovations. It's never looked better, Tony. Smith Center looks really, really good inside.
At GW?
Yes.
They redid that?
Yes, it looks great.
Or is that American?
American looks the same. Bender looks the same.
Yeah, the Bender is American. Smith Center's GW.
Smith Center's a GW. Listen, Bender is a great spot. The WCAC used to do their tournament, their playoff tournament right there. I think they did it at Robinson High School this year. But the Smith Center looked really good on the inside. And shout out to the Atlantic 10 Conference. They're going to be doing their tournament here in DC.
Where?
It's not. I don't think they're doing it at Verizon, but they're coming here to DC.
Oh, so they're doing it at the place in Southeast.
Yeah. Where the go-go play. The sports and entertainment.
Yeah, the sports. That's not a bad place.
No, it's brand new. I like it. Hey, listen, we've had the ACC tournament here. We've had the Big Ten tournament here, and getting the A10 here. Hey, that's great. I like moving through.
The CAA was here too.
CAA's been here. Tony, I wish they had been doing this 30 years ago. We should have had all these tournaments through here, but the conferences have changed and shifted and all of that stuff. So, it is what it is. The more things change, the more they stay the same, right?
You got that right.
Hey, man, I'm going to definitely get back with you guys and give you my baseball schedule. There's going to be some Thursdays I won't be in. So we're going to have to switch the shows up a little. But appreciate y'all having us here on the TD Report. I'm going to sign off for Cody, who believes in gambling in the NFL. And we know that Kenny Rogers says you ain't supposed to hold him or fold him. You ain't gambling. This NFL, but
know nothing.
Amen. I got you.
Folks, make sure you understand this. It's in your contract. In every contract signed by every player, every coach.
That's right.
It's a zero tolerance thing, and it makes me feel good as a gambler because now I know they're not fixing the games.
Yeah, because they can guarantee the product.
What Frank Lucas said?
This is my product. I guarantee it. It's a brand. That's right.
Brand. And he said, I guarantee it. And
that's one of my favorite lines of that movie.
That's what the commissioner said. It's my product. I guarantee it. I stand behind it. That's what he said. That's why he suspended him.
Hey guys, get back with us. We're gonna be back on Sunday.
Monday.
Oh, no, wait a minute. Thursday. Yeah. We'll be back on Thursday. My son doesn't have any games this week on Thursday, so I'm on, man. Can't wait to be back. We appreciate you for joining us here on the TD Report. For Kenny Rogers, I'm your host, The Gambler. Thank y'all. We're going to be back. We'll see you on Thursday.
See y'all. All right.
Great show, T.
Later, baby.